Okay, I illustrate the whole framework of imposition of tariff. Now, using PPT file, I'd like to explain in more detail, right? Number 6 of slide. An import demand curve is the difference between quantity that home consumers demand minus the quantity that home producers supply at each price. So, import demand by home is D minus S, I already explained. Intercept the price axis at PA, autarky price. Okay, import demand starts from PA, right? Think about, imagine earlier graph. And it's downward sloping. As the price increase, the quantity, price decrease, the quantity of import demand increase, right? So like this. As the price of good increase, home consumers demand less. So we can draw this kind of import demand curve at world market, right? And export supply curve is the difference between the quantity that foreign producers supply minus the quantity that foreign consumers demand at each price. The foreign export supply curve, XS star is equal to S star minus D star. Intersects the price axis at P star, PA star. Okay, starting point of export supply at world market is at this price, autarky price of foreign, and above the sloping. As price increases, the quantity of export supply by foreign rises. Okay, everybody knows this. So graphically like this, that is autarky price and export supply at world market. Starting point is P star A, right? Like this. So in equilibrium, import demand is equal to export supply, right? Import demand, equilibrium world market is import supply is equal to export supply by foreign. Import demand is equal to D minus S, right? It's equal to export supply by foreign is S star minus D star, right? And then D star moving here, D star is equal to S plus S star, right? So the world consists of home and foreign. That is world demand is equal to world supply, okay? That is slide number 10. So at world equilibrium, at world market, export supply by foreign starting from PA star, import demand by home at PA, starting point is PA, and quantity demand, import demanded is equal to export supply when price is PW. PW is equilibrium price, right? Leading to import demand is equal to export supply. The equilibrium world price is where home import demand equals foreign export supply. That is second graph in my whole structure figure. A tariff acts like a transportation cost, making sellers unwilling to stop goods, unwilling to export goods unless the home price exceeds the foreign price by amount of tariff. So PT, so I already explained that. PT minus T is equal to PT star. Okay? A tariff makes the price rise in home market and fall in foreign market. Like this. That is a full graph reasoning. A tariff raises the price in home PT, world market here, home market here, right? While lowering the price in foreign, PT star, world market here. The gap between the two is tariff, right? Tariff is equal to PT minus PT star. So in this graph like this. The volume of trade thus declines. Originally, import demand equal to import supply, export supply volume, right? At equilibrium price of P star, right? P star, import demand. How can I say? PW, I'm sorry. At PW, MD is equal to export supply. That is equal to QW, right? Import demand export supply is equal to QW, right? But after imposition of tariff, at PT, import demand is equal to export supply at foreign is equal to QT, right? At this graph. Because the price in home market rises from PW on the free trade to PT with a tariff. Home producers supply more and home consumers demand less. Thus, the quantitative import falls from QW on the free trade to QT with a tariff. Okay? Because the price in foreign market falls from PW on the free trade to PT star with a tariff. Foreign producers supply less and foreign consumers demand more. So quantitative export excess falls from QW to QT. I already explained this. The quantity of home market demanded equals the quantity of foreign export supplied when PT minus PT star equal T. The increase in the price in home can be less than the amount of the tariff, right? Part of the effect of tariff causes the foreign export price to decline, but this effect is sometimes very small, okay? Especially home countries, right? Home country is very small, okay? If home country is very large, then PT, foreign price decrease, right? But now we assume that home country is very small. So after imposition of tariff by home countries, world demand decrease. But this is a really infinitesimally small amount at world market. Then export supply can have no reason to increase greatly because the impact of tariff by small countries is insignificant. Okay? Slide number 17. When a country is small, it has no effect on the foreign price because its demand is an insignificant part of the world demand for that good. Okay? I already explained this. The foreign price does not fall, but remains at PW. The price in the home market rises by the full amount of tariff, like this. So, in the earlier example, right? The home countries, okay. Earlier example, right? That is PW, PA, and world price is PW, like this. After imposition of tariff, PT is here, right? And foreign price decrease also like this. That is PT star. The gap between the two is tariff, right? But if home country is very small, so that is home country's market. If home country is very small, then what happens? Right? Demand, supply, that is PA, and PW is here. That is PW. After imposition of tariff, right? Foreign price, impact on world market, decrease, impact. And anyway, after imposition of tariff, import demand decrease, right? At the world market. But that is insignificant. That is not significant at the world market because home countries' import share in world market is infinitesimally small. Then no reason to decrease for foreign price, right? Then after imposition of tariff, PT is this one. That is PT, right? And the gap between the two is tariff. So in this case, that is tariff. Tariff, domestic price goes up, foreign price goes down, right? But here, what happened? That is tariff. Just imposition of tariff increases domestic price only. Foreign price, no change, right? So mathematically, we said here, PT is equal to PW plus T, or tariff is just equal to PT minus PW, isn't it? Right? When home country is very small, right? home country is a small country. When home country is large countries, this kind of thing happen, right? Measuring the amount of protection, that is ERP. So I'd like to explain later, right? Okay, I'd like to explain this. Effects, I'm sorry. Okay, effective rate of protection. The concept of effective rate of protection. Effective rate of protection measures how much protection of tariff provides, right? The tariff rate is a nominal rate of protection, right? And effective rate of protection, it means real impact of tariff in real term instead of nominal terms. Okay? So 10% tariff, that is nominal. 10% tariff means, for example, small countries, domestic price goes up by 10%. Okay? But effective rate of protection is different in real terms. Okay? So two things are different. It represents the change in value that forms in a country industry as to production process when trade policy changes, which depends on the change in price the trade policy causes. Effective rate of protection often differ from tariff rates because tariff affects sectors other than protected sector, causing indirect effects of the prices and value added for protected sector. So numerical example is like this. I'd like to use whiteboard there. Effective rate of protection means, how can I say, change in value over value, right? That is effective rate of protection. Before imposition of tariff, the automobile sell in world market at $8,000, right? $8,000. Price was $8,000, right? This price consists of factors of production. This one is factors of production. So value added in macroeconomics and microeconomics. Factors of production, right? That is $6,000, right? $6,000. So value and value added is a different concept, right? And others is $2,000, right? Values $6,000. The others is V, right? Okay. $6,000 is equal to $8,000 equal to $2,000 plus the others, right? That is value added, right? Value added, and that is value, just value, right? So, okay, some problem in nomination, but I'd like to explain like this, right? That is the case. Now, country puts 25% tariff on imported car. Nominal rate is 25%, right? 25% imposed, right? Then, after tariff price is PT is equal to $8,000, 1 plus 25%, right? That is after trade price. Original price was 8,000, right? Now, new price after imposition of tariff should be like this, right? 25% means 0.25, right? So that means $10,000. After imposition of tariff, importing price of car is $10,000. In other words, domestic producers can sell their product, their car, at $10,000 after imposition of tariff, right? That kind of thing. Then, this $10,000 is equal to consists of also two parts, value added and the others, right? And factors of production is same. Before imposition of tariff, after imposition of tariff, same. Right? Rental price of land, capital same, wage rate same. Right? So factors of production is $6,000. Then the remaining value, how can I say, that is V0, VT, and VT minus 1 is $4,000. That is VT minus 1, that is value added anyway, or factors, value added, or factors, values of factors is $6,000, right? So can you understand? This one change from this one to this one, right? Factors of production same, before, after imposition of tariff. But the remaining value changes $2,000 to $4,000. And definition of ERP is change in value divided by original value. Okay? Original value, look at this. Original value is $2,000. Right? Original value is $2,000. Change in value is VT plus 1 minus VT. That is $4,000 minus $2,000. Right? Then that is 1 or 100%. That is nominal rate, effective rate of protection. Nominal rate of protection is just 25%, right? But effective rate of protection is 100%. Okay, we go back our slide. Look at this. The value added of production process is this one. I'm sorry, here, value added is values and my notation. Okay? Okay, I'd like to change the word. Lots of confusion arise. I said value added changes like factors, right? Value of factors, $6,000. The others are value added in our textbook, right? That is $2,000 originally, but after imposition of tariff, that becomes $4,000. So effective rate, calculate like that. Suppose the country puts a 25% tariff on imported auto, so that home auto assembly firm can now charge up to $10,000 instead of $8,000. The effective rate of protection for home auto assembly firm is a change in value added, 4,000 VT plus 1 minus VT divided by VT, so 100%. In this case, the effective rate of protection is greater than the tariff rate, okay? Now, next section, section 2, cost and benefit of tariff. A tariff, now think about this one again, this graph again. A tariff raises the price of goods in the importing country, so it hurts consumers and benefit producers there. Anyway, after imposition of tariff, domestic price increase PW to PT, right? So consumers are losers. Inefficient domestic producers are winners. Why? Consumers price increase and the consumption amount decrease compared to free trade case, right? And domestic inefficient producers are winners because price increase and they can produce and sell more. Okay? Use the concept of consumer surplus and produce surplus. Actually, consumer surplus and concept of consumer surplus and produce surplus explained in the microeconomic summary, right? Consumer surplus measures the amount that consumers gain from purchases by computing the difference between the price actually paid from the maximum price they would be willing to pay for blah, blah, blah. Okay? So I explained this. For example, I'd like to skip this. It's too easy. Right? Produce surplus measures the amount that producers gain from sales by computing the difference in the price received from the minimum price at which they would be willing to sell. When price increase, like that happen. produce surplus is less than price, market price over supply curve, right? So, a tariff raises the price in the importing countries. Consumer surplus decrease. Okay, I'd like to explain using this. Right? Now think about in free trade case, consumer surplus is this area, isn't it? This area, isn't it? Less than demand curve. Demand curve is marginal utility curve. Willingness to pay is demand curve, but they can purchase at World, at PW. Right? That is original consumer surplus is this one. But after imposition of tariff, what happened? Price increase. So consumer surplus is now this one. Right? So consumer surplus decreased by this area. Right? Think about change in consumer surplus when you're moving free trade to tariff, imposition of tariff. Right? Change in consumer surplus is originally this one, but now this one. The gap between the two is decreasing consumer surplus. Right? Consumer surplus. What is the graph of this one? Right? Changing consumer surplus is this area and this graph. This area. Consumer surplus is minus, decrease by that area. Changing produce surplus. Now think about changing produce surplus. Originally, produce surplus is that lower than PW over supply curve or marginal cost curve. Right? So supply curve, that is produce surplus. But after imposition of tariff, PT price increase, this one lower than this. So this one. So produce surplus increased by this area. Consumer surplus increased by this area. Right? Consumer surplus increased by produce surplus increased by this area. Right? But we have to consider, and when there is no government, right? Change in national welfare is change in consumer surplus plus produce surplus. But we have one more thing, that is change in government revenue, right? Anyway, government collect tariff from foreign exporters or importers, right? Tariff revenue. Tariff revenue is increasing government revenue. This one should be used for increasing national welfare, consumers' welfare, or national defense or something. Anyway, government revenue, right, tariff collection can contribute to increasing domestic welfare. So, third component when there is a government in here, right? So now think about tariff collection. After imposition of tariff, what happened? Right? Import amount at PT is this one. That is total import. Right? At each per unit import, collect tariff. T. PT minus PT star is tariff. Right? Tariff rate. And the import this one. So this amount, what can I say? This amount, here. This amount is tariff collection or change in government revenue, right? So, change in national welfare is summation of all of this. Okay? That is explained here. Consumer surplus decrease, produce surplus increase. The government collects tariff revenue equals the tariff rate times quantity of imports with the tariff. So that is equal to change in tariff collection. How can I say? Collection is equal to TQT, right? TQT is equal to tariff rate is PT minus PT star, QT is DT minus ST. Change in welfare due to tariff is like this. Okay, so I'd like to explain using this graph. I'd like to graph this one again, right? PW, PT star, PT, right? That is A, B, C, D, E. Okay? So now, I'd like to explain using figure 9.9 again, like this. Right? This is A area, B, C, D, E. Okay? Now, changing consumer surplus using this. Originally, this area, right? After imposition of tariff, like this. So, consumer surplus, originally consumer surplus is this one, right? But after this one. So, consumer surplus decreased by this area, as I said it. But that is here A plus B plus C plus D, right? Change in producer surplus is originally this one, now this one. So plus A, right? Change in government revenue is tariff collection. Tariff collection is this one. PT minus PT star is tariff rate. And QT is this one. At this price, domestic demand, domestic supply. The gap between the two is import, right? That is equal to this area. So government revenue is C plus E, like this. So then we can calculate change in national welfare. Minus A plus A, right? Minus C plus C. The left is minus B plus D plus E. That is change in national welfare when a large country imposes tariff. Okay? For a large country whose imports and exports affect world price, the welfare effect of a tariff is ambiguous. Then national welfare increase or decrease? Ambiguous. We don't know. Why? Minus B plus D plus E. Usually, B plus D, this area is greater than E. Then national welfare decrease. But sometimes area E greater than B plus D. Then national welfare can increase. Okay? So ambiguous. The triangle B and D represent the efficiency loss. We said this one is efficiency loss. We said efficiency loss. What's the meaning of efficiency loss? Well, think about B area. Right? Consumers, area of B happened because domestic price increase after imposition of tariff. So domestic consumers consume too little compared to world so free trade case. Consumption decrease happen because of imposition of tariff, right? And D area, that is D area. Consumer surplus decrease by D area, right? Area D means consumption decrease. Consumers consume too little, right? And area B means inefficiency produce too much compared to the no import free trade case, right? Production, when PW is this up, now inefficient production increase because of imposition of tariff. So we said B plus D is efficiency loss. The rectangle E represents terms of trade gain. We said this is terms of trade gain. Why we say terms of trade gain? Right? PT is, I said, world price. The rectangle E represents the terms of trade gain. Right? The tariff lowers the foreign price, allowing home purchase its imports cheaper. Okay? So why this term is called terms of trade gain? Terms of trade gain, right? So PT star is foreign price, right? Also, foreign price is importing price. Foreign countries exporting price. PT star is, from the perspective of foreign price simply, right? From the perspective of home, importing price, right? Importing price is equal to foreign exporting price, right? So, before imposition of tariff, importing price was PW, isn't it? Now, after imposition of tariff, importing price decreased. So the gap between the two is terms of trade gain. Importing price decrease multiplied by QT. So we said terms of trade gain. We can import good, foreign good with cheaper price than before. Right? So we said terms of trade gain. Can you understand? Right? So some also, okay, why this is a terms of trade gain? Definition of terms of trade is unit price of exporting, unit price of importing goods, right? But we just focus on here Q2 market or import sector only in this partial equilibrium analysis. So our price of exporting price of Q1 is just constant, but importing price is decreased to PT to PT star, right? So this one, PT to PT star decrease, PW to PT star decrease. So terms of trade gain increase. So we say terms of trade gain. Slide number 31. Part of government revenue, rectangle E, represents the terms of trade gain, and part rectangle C represents sum of the loss in consumer surplus, right? So government revenue is tariff collection, or government revenue is C plus E. As I said before, area E is terms of trade gain, right? And area C, before imposition of tariff, area C is a component of consumer surplus, right? After imposition of tariff, now area C is component of government revenue. So changes, right? So that is explained here. So rectangle C represents some of the loss in consumer surplus. The government gains at the expense of consumers and foreigners, right? Government revenue increase at the expense of consumers and foreigners. If the terms of trade gain exceed the efficiency loss, if this one greater than B plus D area, then national welfare will increase on the tariff at the expense of foreign countries. However, foreign countries are able to retaliate. So it's possible if E greater than B plus D area, national welfare can increase after imposition of tariff, right? But this is not so sustainable. Why? So in this example, large country home, impose tariff on Korea, tariff on comparative disadvantage sector in Q2, right? So area E happen. Can you understand? Then foreign countries also adopt this kind of policy, impose tariff on Q1 market, right? In Q1, automobile, for example, then Korea has a comparative advantage in Q1, and foreign country has comparative disadvantage in Q1, right? So similarly, foreign country can impose tariff on Q1 market. Can you understand? So that is explained here. However, foreign countries are apt to retaliate. Same measure. Then what happens? Home and foreign should be losers. Okay? So that kind of thing. So that kind of thing happens when large countries introduce tariff. But then what happens in small countries imposing tariff? This is the case, right? That is this one. But here is quite different. Changing consumer surplus, how can I say? So that is A, B, C, D. Right? If country is small, then what happened? Area E disappeared. Area E disappeared. Why? Importing price same to PW. Right? Then what happened? Consumer surplus is, changing consumer surplus is minus A plus B plus C plus D. Now think about. Originally consumer surplus is this area, now this one. So minus A plus B plus C. Changing producer surplus is this one to this one after imposition of tariff. So plus A. Right? And changing government revenue is just C, plus C. Right? So national welfare is minus A plus C minus C. So changing national welfare when small country imposing tariff is just minus P plus D. P plus D is the efficiency loss. Consumers consume too little. Producers, inefficient producers, produce too much. Right? So national welfare negative. Can you understand? Small countries imposing tariff, national welfare decrease. But when large countries imposing tariff, maybe usually this is negative, but sometimes positive when terms of trade gain greater than efficiency loss. But this one is also not so sustainable because of foreign countries' similar measures, introduction of tariff in other goods. Okay? The net welfare effects tariff. The colored triangle represents efficiency loss when large countries case. I already explained this, right? Sometimes, and area E is terms of trade gain. Tariff can lead trading partners to retaliate with their own tariff, thus hurting exporters in the country that first adopted tariff. I already explained, right? Tariff can be hard to remove. So now think about in Great Depression period. United States introduced tariff on, import tariff on European countries, imports, right? Then what happened? European countries also impose tariff on US imports. Okay? Retaliation. Tariff can be hard to remove, and large tariff may induce producers to engage in wasteful activities to avoid paying tariff. Ford and Subaru installed said in blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, next slide. Now, we finished imposition of tariff. Now we go export subsidy.